Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful day here in the city of El Centro. I'd like to call our El Centro City Council meeting for August the 15th, 2023 to order. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Carter,
Present.
Councilmember Oliva,
Present.
Councilmember Garcia,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Marroquin,
Present.
Mayor Cardenas Singh.
Present. Thank you so much. At this time, I would like to ask if we could all rise and invite Ms. Oliva, retired school teacher, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll ask to please remain standing as we are led with an invocation from Council members, Ms. Sonia Carter.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you just simply saying thank you, Lord. We're asking you just to bless from the little babies, from the preschool, all the way up to the adults that are going back to school, Lord. This is a time for learning, Lord. We want you just to take control. You be in the seat. You give people the wisdom and the knowledge they need and guide them with the strength that they need to make it through their education, Lord. And this we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. If you could please take your seat. All right. Madam City Attorney, if you could please report out on closed session.
During the closed session, the City Council discussed compensation for a variety of positions within the city, including one on your agenda tonight for the library director. You discussed lawsuit settlement, and in the name of the case is Maruti versus, it's an eminent domain case versus City of El Centro.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. At this time, I'll go ahead and follow our agenda under public comment. This is a public meeting. If there's an item on the agenda on which you wish to be heard, you are asked to complete a blue speaker slip and submit it to the city clerk prior to the start of the meeting. Persons wishing to address the council are not required to identify themselves. However, this information assists the mayor by ensuring that all persons wishing to address the council are recognized and also assists the city clerk in preparing the city council minutes. When the item is announced, your name is called by the mayor. Please step to the podium and state your name for the record. Unless the mayor extends the time, there is a 3-minute time limit for each public presentation. If you wish to address the council concerning any other matter not appearing on the agenda, you may do so during the public portion of that agenda item. However, you may not show a visual presentation without review of the material. If you do so, you will be considered out of order. All right, Madam City Clerk, I do have one blue speaker slip. Is there any others or anyone indicating remotely?
None, Mayor.
All right. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Antonio Ramos, please, to the podium.
Good evening, council and audience. My name is Antonio Ramos. I've been here in El Centro since 1980. And although I wasn't gonna speak about the issue in hand publicly because me and your city mayor talked about it. It's a concern that happened at El Centro Regional Medical Center. And I'll leave it at that because it's a lot of personal stuff, especially my medical and other mental issues that I have. When I was in the Air Force, I ended up getting PTSD, and that's nothing to be ashamed of because it happens. People that have that should get help, and I encourage them to help because nobody's going to look down at me because I had that. Of course, I have other medical issues that I inquire to, and what we need as veterans, we don't need sympathy and flowers at our funeral. We need action and compensation. Not me so much because I'm still walking, even though it's with a cane. But a lot of people, friends of mine that came from Vietnam era war, have died. What good is it to serve your country if 50 years later, I'll be 75 and 76 in November, we still can't get compensation? So I wrote a letter to the editor on Memorial Day, Veterans Day of this year, and I hope you read it. But if I just may be real short, part of what I want to read is that it says, and this was a statement made by J. Edgar Hoover, president, back in what was it? I can't remember the date, but anyway, it says 1929 to 1930, but it says, older men declare war, but it is the young that must fight and die. And it is the youth that must inherit the tribulation, the sorrow, and the triumphs that are the aftermath of war. And it is true, because I would serve my country now if I could, but they're not going to accept me because I can't run or walk. But at the same time, my spirit for my country is very strong. You know, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, or brown. It's what you have in your heart. And I wrote this letter because still, years after, people that have had psychological drug problems are still not getting help. And I always wish that the public, if they have a chance to read my letter, would call their representatives in Congress or here locally to see if we could get help. And I wrote it more for my friends than I did for myself. You know, life, they say, is hard. But what good is it to be happy and a millionaire on earth when we're bankrupt in heaven? You know, there is an afterlife after this, and I do believe in God, that He died for our sins, that He died on the cross. If it wasn't for that, there wouldn't be no earth right now. And I tell you that, people, because sometimes they say you can't speak publicly about religious issues, but these are my 3 minutes, and I do that to save the people here, especially the younger kids here, that don't really understand what I'm talking about. How
Mr.
many minutes do I
Ramos,
have?
I apologize, the buzzer already went off. If you could please
It's
just,
over?
yes, if you could just close out.
Okay, all I want to
within the
do is
last
say
10
that
seconds.
the letter I wrote to the council, I'd like to give copies to the council, and the clerk, and your attorney. If all of them.
Mario, if you, yes, Mr. Ramos, I
There's
have
five.
received it as
There's,
well.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one for you, Mr., and one for your attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos.
Thank
did
you. I hope it
receive
was
as
more
well.
minutes, but I'll go along with whatever.
Yes.
Oh, one other thing too. I wear this hat sometimes because I am very proud of it. I wear it very humbly. But then I wore the one with God, which says push for prayer, because it does happen. And the end of it was that there was a church that was spared in Hawaii. Everything else got burned, and it was a Catholic church. It doesn't matter what church it was, and nothing else happened. So God was present there. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ramos, before you leave, I just want to go ahead and share with you that we have
Oh,
received
yeah,
your letter, we have received.
Cedric was
phone
going to
calls.
share.
Our city manager, please, if you could give us an update. or council
Madam
an
Mayor,
update.
so we've been working with El Centro Regional to address the concerns that were brought up by Mr. Ramos. And also, I had a good conversation earlier today with him. We'll be meeting tomorrow at 11:30, and we'll further discuss this matter. Hopefully, we can find a resolution that's, that fulfills his needs, and we're able to take care of the situation for him.
Mr. Ramos, I am the daughter of a Vietnam veteran. On behalf of our council, we thank you for your service.
Thank you. And you're also young.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam City Clerk, before I continue on the agenda, just double checking, is there any other public comments or blue speaker slips that have been submitted?
None other, ma'am.
All right, then I will go ahead and move us along on the agenda. This portion is presentations and announcements by the mayor and our council. So at this time, we are going to be recognizing our Senior Appreciation Day. And if I could please ask Ms. Adriana Nava and Ms. Leah Arayano, if you could please come to the podium. Thank you. On August the 21st is National Senior Citizen Day, in which we recognize the achievements and the contributions of the more mature representatives of our nation. Throughout our history, older adults have achieved much for our families, communities, and our county. It is with great gratitude that we appreciate the great effort that is being provided by our senior citizens, and most of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to highlight and showcase the great work that happens at our Adult Center.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Ms. Leah Arellano here does a great job at our Adult Center. Our programs are packed with activities, and now we are here spearheading an Adult Center-led program that will be for our entire county to promote services for our seniors. But not just that, it's going to be a fun event. So I'll let Leah take it away. I know some of our participants are also here, and we invite everyone in the community to come to attend the event that's scheduled later this month.
Hi, yes, good evening, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public. Yes, we are excited. We are teaming up with various organizations throughout the county, the Housing Authority of Calexico, ECRMRC, Catholic Charities, the Imperial County Public Administrator's Office, Calexico Wellness Center, Behavioral Health Services, and Pacific Southwest. I'm excited because it's the first year we're doing this, and I do invite everybody 16 over. Anybody younger is also welcome to come. We don't discriminate. Mr. Ramos, if you would like to join us, or join us at the Adult Center. We'd love to have you anytime. We're open 9 to 3, Monday through Friday. But National Senior Citizens Day was something that was created by President Reagan in 1988 when he signed Proclamation 5847. And this day was created not only to raise awareness about all the health issues, but also to celebrate, to honor the accomplishments that seniors have done, and continue to do. As we know, seniors are changing. They're not just somebody who's retired, plays golf, doesn't do anything. No, our seniors are very active, and we're trying to keep up with them. So having this senior day where it's going to be a lot of fun, there's going to be games, food, prizes, raffles, dancing, you name it, we got it. So I hope everybody comes. It should be a lot of fun, and I hope to see everyone there.
Wonderful. I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the City of El Centro. This is a certificate of recognition for Senior Appreciation Day, August the 21st of 2023. Senior Appreciation Day recognizes seniors who have spent their lives contributing to society and have impacted everyone's life for the better. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and present you with this certificate. Congratulations. Great work. Thank you.
We're doing pictures?
Let me just take a quick.
If council can please stand.
We asked for a drone and we got a wand. I'm just joking. Our photographer's got it. Just kidding.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for the great work that you do. Thank you at this time. We'd like to take the opportunity to thank the great volunteers that we have here in the City of El Centro that contribute so much of their time, talent, and efforts to ensuring the greater quality of life for our community. With that, the work could not get done without the great spirit of volunteerism in our community. So on behalf of our council, I'd like to thank the individuals that serve on many of our planning boards and would like to recognize them tonight, please. So the first to be recognized will be our Library and Community Services Board. At this time, I'd like to invite Miss Betty Tucker to be recognized.
Betty.
Miss Tucker is a firecracker. She makes sure that things get done. Ms. Tucker, I'm going to go ahead and hand you your certificate and ask you if you could please stay at the front so we will do an entire picture of the entire board. Congratulations on behalf of our council. Your great work. Thank you. How many years have you been a volunteer, Ms. Tucker? How many years? A long time. All right. I don't know if Miss Adrienne Lawson is in the room. I have not seen her, but I will tell you she is an amazing contributor to our community and serves in a dual capacity. So I'll go ahead and we can applaud for her and the great work that she's done. I'm taking the opportunity now to recognize Mr. Victor Sasueta, and I don't know if he's in the room. I have not seen him, but we'll go ahead and applaud Mr. Sasueta. All right. Recognizing Dr. Richard Ryan, and I don't know if he's in the room. There he is. Dr. Ryan, thank you. A lifelong educator in our community. We thank you for your service and your contributions. If I can have you stand with Ms. Tucker. We'd like to recognize Janette Cruz. Thank you, Ms. Cruz, for your great service. We appreciate it. Thank you. I'd like to recognize Mr. Armando Lopez. A longtime educator in our community as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Lopez. Mr. Rosendo G. Garcia, a.k.a. Garcia.
Good to see you, brother.
Thank you. If we could just have you centered and if we could please take a group picture.
Again, that's our library community.
Poor Emilio. Oops. So you still haven't gotten your camera? It's not a number.
Just like pop out right there.
I can bring him my husband's old Sony.
No. You got it.
Thank you. All right. Moving us along, we'd like to recognize our Planning Commission board members. I will tell you, a lot of the heavy lifting happens at the Planning Commission. As city council members, we really depend on our Planning Commission to ask all the questions that are necessary as they go through the vetting process on projects. So with that, we truly are partners in the blueprint and the growth for our city. So with that, I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize Ms. Ashley Bertucci. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Would like to acknowledge Mr. Jorge A. Perez.
All right. This is a concept.
Thank
How are
you
you?
so much for your great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to recognize Diana Ortega. All right. Like to recognize Sergio Armando Lopez. A lifelong educator. So good to see you. Thank you. Like to recognize Ramiro Urias. I know they're expecting a baby anytime, so I'm sure he's busy. Mr. Andy Alvarez. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Aaron Papajoy. We can have you scoot down just a little so we can be centered. Great. Emilio, we're going to get you roller skates.
That just looks really bad. He's holding up his cell phone.
That's an expensive device.
What, that extender? That's expensive. Like how much?
Turning into Joselito now. You heard that on the video.
Thank you. Thank you for the great work. All right. Another very active board that we have here for the city of El Centro, always looking at opportunities for quality of life for our community and really having a strong focus when we talk about our youth. So with that, I'd like to recognize our Friends of El Centro Community Service Foundation board member, Mr. Todd Evangelist. Is there any other certificates?
For the board members. No.
He's a one-man show?
No.
Holding it down.
That's not true.
I would like to recognize Miss Carol Fisher. I think it's just the two of us. Congratulations. Do you recognize yourself? And of course, yes, myself. If we could please stand here, I would appreciate it.
What did I call it?
And as stated, I am also on the Friends of El Centro Foundation, so it's a great honor and a privilege to work with amazing volunteers. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Todd is also a football coach, so I'm sure you're ready to get back out onto the field.
You know, there's seats that are opening up in case people.
Yes, there are seats that are opening up, so if there's any individual that can no longer stand or would like to sit, this would be an opportunity to do so.
Two right here.
There's two up front, and there's a couple other over here, so anyone would like to have the opportunity to have a seat, this would be the time. All right. Moving us on to the agenda at this time, we'd like to recognize a great friend of the city of El Centro and our community as a whole. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize Ms. Ann Irigoyen, Ivy Regional Chamber of Commerce President of 2019 through 2023. All right, let's go ahead and take a picture. Emilio.
He's got it down.
Emilio
should just
stay out here.
Is she gonna say anything?
Yes. Great, Anne, if we could please invite you up to the podium. I'd like to just say a couple of words. All right. As Miss Anne works her way to the microphone, I will tell you, under your leadership, you truly are a partner to business owners in the community. You do the work that you do passionately and making sure that first-time business owners or long-time business owners always feel supported. Under your presidency, we understand, right, that it was one of the most difficult times with the pandemic. And I will share with you, you have truly shown stellar leadership, and we thank you for being flexible, nimble, forward-thinking, and making sure that you provided support to local businesses or owners during that difficulty. So with that, I please would like to go ahead and open up the microphone and give you an opportunity to share with us a little insight and words.
Thank you so much. It just dawned on me that I'm a senior. Wow. It was 30 years ago that I moved to Imperial Valley, and it wasn't easy getting to know people. It's a very close-knit community who take care of each other. So the one way I found to get to know people in Imperial Valley was to volunteer. Now, despite what everyone thinks, I am not on every nonprofit in the Valley. I am on quite a few, and there's two main topics that I focus on when I agree to be on committees or councils or whatever we want to call the organizations. The first is, my first passion is small business. I'm a business owner, and it hasn't been easy. And anything I can do to encourage or help them make a success of their business is huge. I recently took a trip to Peru, and while I was there, I noticed, and our tour guides talked about it, that 78% of their business depends on tourism. So during the pandemic, that was especially hard. That 60% of their entrepreneur business owners are women. And that was also interesting to me. But then it dawned on me, we depend on tourism here. We depend on snowbirds. We depend on our wonderful NAF base people who aren't here all the time. My second passion is the youth. It's very difficult for me to say no to any organization that helps the youth in our valley. And that's because one day, and I've said this before, but one day, those are the people who will be taking care of us. So I think we need to give attention to them. I'd like to encourage, especially the youth of our valley, to consider opening a business or working in Imperial Valley. Honestly, there's a lot more here that all of you can do that aren't necessarily, the things that you think. Create something new. Do something new. Bring something to the valley that we've never seen before, and we will embrace you. That's how Imperial Valley is. I've spoken to many different cities, and I've lobbied in Washington and Sacramento over the years, and I've told them, you really, I know there's a lot on the news about us, the lowest, the highest unemployment and the lowest economic value. I have noticed, and I'm from Los Angeles, so I get that, but I have noticed that Imperial Valley, Imperial County, takes care of their own. If there's a problem, if there's a concern, we bind together and fix it and make it better because we have such a passion for our community. I know that 30 years doesn't make me a native of Imperial Valley, but I definitely feel like a member of this beautiful community. And if there's anything that I can do or any help I can be, I will say yes.
Right.
Okay? So thank you for this honor. Ladies and gentlemen, the city of El Centro, their council people, their departments, all over, was an example during the pandemic of how to move through it and move forward. I don't know that we learned the lessons we should have learned from the pandemic. I wish to say we could have learned them, but I feel that unfortunately there was still judgment, there was still blame, there was still concerns, and so I challenge all of you to take away the judgment, take away the blame, and just live. Be in the moment here, in the moment now, because we are Imperial Valley, and we are in one of the most amazing places in the world to live, and I've been all over the world. And so I wanted to thank City Council and all your team here. We couldn't have done it without you, sincerely. I mean that from my heart. And if I can, I'd like to spread a lot of love and a lot of kindness to everybody, and give everybody, especially in this room, going down to the fire and police and everyone, a big round of applause, because while the rest of the world was in a serious state of judgment, we actually kind of maintained ourselves really well in Imperial Valley. So congratulations, everyone. You know, we did it. We made it happen. And don't forget what I said. Volunteer. You're going to get to know so many people, so many wonderful people, right? And live that legacy. I love everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. As we get ready to recognize our Valley All-Stars basketball team, you know, I find something that's really interesting. As I go to meetings or I meet new people across the state, I always get asked, "Where are you from?" And I'll say, "El Centro." And they're like, "Where is that?" And so I always find myself, right, well, we're 110 miles, east of San Diego. We're, 60 miles away from, Arizona, and we're 15 minutes away from the United States border. And so, I'm always trying to explain where we're from. And they're like, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Yes." And you know what? Great things happen here in the Imperial Valley. And today, one of those recognitions and why we are put on the map is because of the caliber of students, sports leaders that we have here in our community that we're going to have the opportunity to recognize today. So today I'd like to recognize and ask our coaches to please come up. Coach Mike, Frank, Lalo, and Josh, if you're in the room, if I could please have you come up to the podium. Thank you so much. I'd like to congratulate you for the great work and your dedication to all of our girls. Who should I hand that to? All right, ready for a picture, and then we'll have an opportunity to.
You word? Some. Really getting those steps in today, huh? All right.
All right. If I could please have you go to the podium? Yes, please.
They're gonna say something.
Yeah, say something. Now, I want to just share quickly, as I was getting information about the team, this Valley All-Star basketball team, what I learned and heard was it's been 2 years in the formation of this amazing team. They've attended tournaments, provided fundraising events, practiced and competed, and have grown to be a team to be reckoned with. They have set a foundation for the future and the girls in the Imperial Valley to join basketball camps and clinics that all sports players make a big difference. And so with that, I thank you for putting us on the map and giving us that recognition. So Coach, I'll hand it over to you, please.
Thank you. I wrote it down so it wouldn't take too long. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mayor, City Council, for this opportunity. I'd really like to thank the El Centro staff, especially the great staff at Conrad and MLK Rec Center. With their support, Dolores, Hope, Drew, and everyone else there for their kind and great service provided for us and our girls there. Thank you to my wife, especially. I get choked up because I've never been recognized for anything. Especially for her sacrifices in allowing me to start this program. And the parents and that group. Juliana, Ellie, Ivana, Alyssa, Victoria, Isa, Alexa, Marianne, Kayla, Valeria, Avery, Bunny, Jess, Leah, Peyton, Taylor, Rihanna, Jordan, Paula, Coach Frank, Coach Lalo, Coach Josh. We are the Valley All-Stars. It has been years, 2 years that we've put this together. Great opportunity. We have participated in San Diego, LA, Phoenix, Las Vegas. We took second place in the tournament. Over 200 teams competed in. We hope to continue their growth and provide these girls with opportunities on and off the court. We're more than just basketball. When you see us on the court, we represent ourselves, our valley. That's what we wear across our chests. We don't have last names tied to it. We represent our little valley that nobody knows about, that is a few hours from San Diego and LA, an hour away from Phoenix, and they still don't know where we're at.
Not anymore.
Now they know. We've competed against teams from Hawaii, all over California, all over the United States, Australia as well, when I coached boys. I just want to thank my girls for all their hard work and dedication. Thank you, all of you, for all your time. And like I said again, we are the Imperial Valley. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So at this time, it is our honor and our privilege to please invite our Valley All-Stars basketball team to come up and be recognized. We might have to do a double row.
Panorama.
So I'm gonna have to kneel in front.
Mario, the microphone.
Oh, thank you.
Go.
Yeah, and that's
See, that's when I said a drone. We need a drone.
Uh-huh.
All the coaches in? All right, all the moms and dads, did you get your picture? Everybody has their picture, okay.
I could see one of my cousins in the audience, and I know she's the mom of one of the girls because they look so alike. Oh my God.
All right. Before we end this portion of the presentation, I'd really would like to take the opportunity for us to please have the parents, if the parents of the players could please stand, and so we can take that opportunity to thank you. Thank you so much for the endless hours that you put in as you work on the foundation for your daughter. So congratulations. Thank you so much for representing us well. All right.
All of a sudden, everything opened up.
We're just going to wait a minute here as we do a little reshuffling and allow people to come in and people to leave the room. Yes, they're so beautiful. All right. I tell you, the energy in the room today, we're in great hands when we think about the quality and the caliber of individuals that come here from our El Centro and putting us up on the map and making sure that we're represented well. At this time, I would like to invite Miss Brianna Estrada. Miss Estrada is the coach for the senior dance category World Dance Championships for our young ladies We Don't Play and for Pink Spice. Miss Estrada. take a quick picture with you, and then we'll go ahead and have you come up to the microphone. Ready?
Here comes Emilio.
Roller skates next time, Amelia. Have to put it on the budget. Thank you. Coach Brianna, if we could have you go up to the microphone, please.
Thank you, Coach.
Alrighty. So before I say anything, I want to bring Melissa Leon up to the podium as well because she is part of this just as much. So I'll speak on behalf of the Station Dance Complex. We couldn't have done this without the girls themselves to make this vision come to life. Parents, we couldn't have also done this without your guys' support, financially and physically, taking the girls to each practice. It takes commitment from, it's a family. We want to thank you guys for inviting us and getting recognition for the dance studio and how hard these girls have worked. We represented the Imperial Valley in New York City. That is amazing. And it's coming from the dance community. I see a lot of familiar faces from the dance community, other dance studios. We love the support. I feel like the dance community here in Imperial Valley should be showcased a lot more because we have so much spirit here and we have so much love to give, just like all the other ones were saying as well. Like, we all agree with that. And thank you for that opportunity and letting us showcase all the girls.
Right,
Go for it.
Hello, my name is Melissa Leon. I'm the studio director of the Station Dance Complex. I want to thank you for inviting us this evening. I'm really pleased to get this recognition for the girls and for the parents that they've done an amazing job with this. We went to New York City 2 weeks ago, and we did represent the Imperial Valley the best way possible that we could. We took two different groups. We were able to take our senior group, level 2, and our junior group, level 1. Both of them got top 10 overall, so they both competed against 30 teams. We went against China, Australia, Canada, and all over the United States. So just right in the beginning, when the MCs were like, "Please welcome to the stage, the Station Dance Complex, all the way from El Centro, California." We went crazy. It was an awesome experience for the girls. It was the first time in the dance scene here in the Imperial Valley that we were able to take a group of girls to compete out of state. And honestly, I'm really proud of each and every one, all the girls that they put into so many hours of practice just for 3 minutes on stage. So it's a whole 1,000 hours of practice just to perform those 3 minutes. The parents for bringing them up and down to the studio, eating outside, and just sometimes napping outside. I would see them. Thank you. We have amazing dance moms and dance dads at the studio, and obviously our community that we also, some of the girls got sponsorships from several of our community members. Super happy for that and for the support. And the stars are the girls, honestly. The girls are the stars here. Thank you.
Great. Coach Estrada, would you like me to call the girls, because there's two groups, individually, or would you like me to call them together as a group? What would you prefer? We have the two separate certificates.
Individually, yeah. We could do
Individually,
individually.
wonderful. At this time then, I would like to please invite, it is our honor and privilege to invite the dance group We Don't Play. All right.
They look like
Like
rockets.
unison.
They do look like rockets, you're right. All right. Parents, do we have the picture? All right, congratulations. And again, at this time, it is my honor and our privilege to invite Pink Spice, top 10 world-class ranking.
Here you go, little. Wow.
All right, parents, we got the picture. Thank you. Thank you, and at this time, please, if I could ask all parents to please stand. Thank you, parents. Thank you, parents. We really appreciate it. It's a great honor and a privilege to have you in our chambers tonight. I feel the energy in the room, and we appreciate it. All right, thank you. All right, give us a little chance here to reshuffle as individuals enter and exit the chambers.
Bye.
One of them was
It feels so empty now here. Where did everyone go?
It's cleared out,
You
huh?
know, there's more on the agenda, right?
All right. At this time, I'll go ahead and move us along on our agenda. This is a portion for scheduled public comments. At this time, I'd like to please invite Ms. Sherry Cowie as our new Ivy Regional Chamber of Commerce President.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor Cardenas Singh and council members. Gosh, that's a really tough act to follow. So I am deeply honored to stand before you today as the newly appointed president of the Chamber of Commerce. My name is Sherry Cowie, and I have a strong commitment to fostering economic growth, community collaboration, and a supportive local business landscape. Having been an active member of this city's business community for the past 17 years, and I say 17 because I was born and raised in the Imperial Valley, and I left for about 20 years and came back. So I've witnessed firsthand the resilience and potential that our local businesses hold. As president of the Chamber of Commerce, I'm dedicated to harnessing these strengths and working closely with all stakeholders to create an environment that empowers businesses to thrive. My vision for our chamber is to continue its legislative work on behalf of our business community and the whole of the Imperial Valley, strengthen our membership community, and support our business community no matter their size. Through strategic partnerships, advocacy efforts, and innovative initiatives, we will help to pave the way for sustainable development and enhanced opportunities for our members. I am excited to collaborate with each of you, esteemed members of the City Council, as we work hand in hand to drive our city's economic prosperity and elevate its status as a welcoming hub for commerce and community growth. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cowie, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you so much for the great work. The endless hours that you and your husband dedicate to our community is truly an asset and greatly appreciated. We look forward to your leadership as you move us into the next step of your leadership in this opportunity. So for that, we thank you and always look forward to being a partner and a supporter to the Imperial Valley Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
All right, from moving along on our agenda at this time, I'll go ahead and have you please have the opportunity to look in your packets as we review the consent agenda, items 7 through 12. At any time, any council member or anyone from the public may pull any item if you wish. All right, at this time, motion has been made by Councilmember Edgar Garcia, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Sylvia Marroquin. Please vote. Thank you. That item passes 5-0. All right. Moving us on to public hearing, item number 13. This is a time and place for public hearing for discussion and related actions regarding the naming of the dog park to be located at 670 Park Avenue to Healed Families El Centro Dog Park. Presentation by Ms. Adriana Nava, Community Services Director.
Hello, Honorable Mayor. I was having so much fun, I forgot that we were going to do this too. I thought, oh, okay, my turn now. I do want to say before I get started that we have Mr. Heald and Miss Elise Heald here with us. You may recall that they were instrumental in us moving forward with the dog park project. The project, just to give you a little brief update, is currently under construction. The heavy lifting has been done, which was the installation of water and sewer for that restroom. So there were some recent street closures along Park. They're over. They did that work and they're moving forward. So with that said, you may recall that we have a policy to name facilities or to rename facilities. In this case, this park has been informally called Adams Park, but it doesn't have that name formally. And based on our criteria, our goal is to honor and commemorate individuals who have achieved prominence as a result of his or her significant positive contribution to the United States and our local community. In this case, you may see that in your backup material, there was a great amount of work that was done by the Healds to highlight some of their families' accomplishments. They go back to the early 1900s settlers of our Imperial Valley and have a long legacy in our community. Other names that are sometimes suggested is to commemorate local history, places, events, or culture, or to strengthen neighborhood identity or recognize our native wildlife or natural features in the El Centro. With that said, the request has been submitted by Mr. Philip Heald to name the dog park Healed Families El Centro Dog Park. He has been working with Penn Signs in generating a sign for the proposed dog park and also contributed $500,000 for the construction of the dog park. And we believe, based on the criteria, they meet the criteria and the name is adequate for this type of facility, but this is the time. If there are any members of the public to suggest otherwise, this would be the time. And then also, we do have a plaque recognition that is proposed for the contribution they have made for this park. With that said, we advertised the public hearing as well in the Imperial Valley Press. It was completed a while back in anticipation of this meeting, and all members of the community are welcome to discuss on this item. We also submitted it to the Library and Community Services Board following our procedure, and they are in agreement with the proposed name, and this was done back in June. With that said, it is up to the council to decide regarding the naming of the facility and provide any type of alternative if so desired, or keep it as proposed. And I'm not sure if Mr. Phil or Ms. Elise Heald want to say a few words, but this would be the time as you open the public hearing.
All right. With that, the public hearing is opened. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Yes. Mr. Heald, you,
Mrs. Hill has the microphone.
Mrs. Heald has the microphone. Here you go. Is it on?
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. I just am delighted to see it finally moving forward. This was approved a little over a year ago by the council at that point, not the naming, but the going ahead with it. And I feel that without our contribution, El Centro probably never would have been able to put together an item like a dog park there. And I think it's an ideal location with all the other recreational things there. And I know there are a whole lot of El Centro and other dog lovers that will enjoy using it. And I hope that they'll treat it with respect and bring dogs that are friendly dogs, not fighting dogs. I don't think that'll happen, the fighting dogs, but I just hope, as I said, that it will be given the respect it deserves. And I think we're due to open, maybe grand opening in September or November or October. Originally I thought it was going to be in the spring of this past, but.
Hoping for the best, probably sometime this December.
December. Okay.
Very well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heald, for your kind words. Anyone else from the public? Madam City Clerk, do we have a blue speaker slip or?
I just wanted to say I'm sorry we missed the hullabaloo earlier. That looked like you had a huge gathering. That's great. That's
Yes.
fantastic.
Thank
And they
you.
also seemed so happy when they left.
It's
Anyway,
always-
it'll be a
yes.
perfect time for a family gathering down here for the opening of the dog park.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate all you all have done to support it.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Ms. Heald. All right, Madam City Clerk, any?
None, Mayor.
All right, at this time then, this public hearing is hereby closed, and I will bring it back to council. Council, any questions or discussions on this item?
I certainly do. Who wants to start?
I'd love to start. I think that it's going to be a wonderful addition to the city. I thank the Heald family for their passion and dedication, not only for the dog park, but for everything that they've done in this community. And I would be the first to make a motion to have this named Heald Families El Centro Dog Park.
All right. Mr. Oliva?
Yeah, so I was envisioning a dog park many years ago, and I remember I didn't have necessarily the support at that time from fellow council members, and so seeing that this is now coming to fruition is great. I have a dog that I used to have to take to Imperial, and then we stopped because you recognize or you realize that not every dog owner takes care of their dog and doesn't necessarily teach them proper behavior. And so I felt like my dog was learning bad habits, just seeing how other dogs behave. And so I'm glad we're gonna have this. And you know, I do certainly appreciate the contribution that the Heald family has brought. And so this is not gonna be popular, but I will say that since the time that I've been able to be here and represent people, the message that I have received from folks is, why are we naming public spaces after individuals, right? And I cannot help but think that we accepted $500,000 from a family, and now we're gonna name it after that family. And I can't help but think that there's a conflict of interest there, to name it. And I know that's not a popular thing to say, and it's not to take away from the contributions that they have made, but the park hasn't even been constructed yet. It's not ready. Very similar to when Sidewinder Park was constructed. We waited until it was done, and then we announced it to the public so that the public had an equal opportunity to recognize someone. This park hasn't been done yet, and we hadn't announced it to the public that come one, come all, feel free to nominate someone that you may feel. There are some unsung heroes out there. And so, quite honestly, it's not that I do not feel it's an appropriate action or appropriate thing to put forward. I think it's just, it's premature because the park hasn't been completed. And I would like for everyone in this community to feel that they had an opportunity to apply for it. And so I unfortunately will not be able to support this measure at this time. And that's, again, not to take away. I just cannot help but feel that the folks that elected me to be here is going to say, are public spaces for sale in El Centro? That if you're from a family that can afford to give $500,000 in order for a space to exist, then they get to kind of make you feel like you have to name it after that family. And so I don't think the majority of El Centro feels that way. And I would love to be able to protect the process and protect the validity and the merits of this application by having had it in a fair and open, call for nominations.
All right. Council members, anyone else have any suggestions, feedback? There is a motion on the floor. Madam City Clerk, are we, thank you. All right. Okay. Do I have a second? All right. Motion fails. There was not a second on this item. Right? Motion doesn't carry. All right. Ms. Adriana, I think that we'll go
Any
through the
direction
process.
to move forward, or?
Yes. Madam City Clerk?
Yeah,
Or
we need
Ma-
direction.
Or Madam Attorney?
Perhaps, given Councilmember Oliva's suggestion that the naming take place after this is completed, you would like to put this on your agenda for when you think that time would be? Did you say December?
We think December is a time when it will happen. And so moving forward, I mean, what we've done in the past is we've opened it up for additional time other times and just posted on social media, inform people about the process, and open it up again, which is something that we've done as well. This is not the first time. So we can continue to do that.
I do think that in that process, it would be appropriate to acknowledge that it could be named after the Heels.
In the past, we haven't provided suggestions. We have just said that, we have a new facility and that we are open to suggestions and recommendations. So we don't normally suggest a name. They submit nominations and we accept all nominations that come before, and then they are considered before the Library and Community Services Board. And then we bring them to council if we receive a recommendation.
All right. So at this time, we will follow the process after the completion of the park, and it will be brought back to council at that time to go ahead and take a look at the recommendation.
Yes.
For the
so
naming of the park.
We will open it up, and based on the recommendations, we will take it to our Library and Community Services Board. Once we move forward there, we will come back to the council.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. Yes.
Good evening, Diana Garcia Ruiz, Proyecto Heber. I just wanted to stipulate that the Heels have donated to us. It's not just an El Centro thing. they've never stipulated how we would, that it had to be for El Centro, the money that they've given us. I just wanted to make sure that that their contributions are recognized, and it's not just El Centro. It goes the whole valley. I've seen some of their contributions go. I have no say whatsoever in how you name a park. I just wanted to make sure that you guys realize that the Hills donate all over the valley.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And just like I'm sure that everyone's gonna enjoy your park, you know, even us. Maybe not my Yorkie, because she doesn't behave, but everybody else. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. All right, moving us on to new business. Community sponsorship, El Centro Police Explorer Program, post 1908.
It was just given to us, Mayor, the speaker slip. The speaker slip was just given to us.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Would you like me to proceed?
Yes,
Madam Mayor?
please.
Okay. So, Madam Mayor, you have before the council tonight an item for discussion, necessary action, the Explorer Post Program Post 1908, which we have two advisors present here tonight with us, are requesting funds to actually travel to Riverside for the 2023 Riverside Police Explorer Competition. This would be a sponsorship for the attendance in October. Basically, what they teach and what they learn is they teach explorers how to be independent and work as a team as well. They also are taught the importance of personal responsibility and caring for others and their commitment to community. I'll put a little brief commentary here. Personal experience is that I'm actually proud to say that I was a fire explorer back in my early part of my decision to become a public servant. The cost for each explorer to attend is $120. At this time, they're looking at about sending 10 to 15 explorers to attend this particular academy. They are looking for a sponsorship of $1,800. The current community sponsorship fund has funds in the amount of $3,600 with the additional rollover of $3,889 from the 22-23 year into the current fiscal year for a total of $7,489. So before you is an item that we have reviewed as far as the application is concerned, met all the requirements in the policy statement for this particular program, and as well as you have reviewed the request, and there's consideration of sponsorship for $1,800 before you, and we do have the police explorers post advisors here to give additional if necessary.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak briefly about the Explorer program. My name is Adrian Chopa, Police Sergeant with the El Centro Police Department. There's several things that I help out with the police department, several different areas that I help out with, but by far one of the things that I'm the most proud of is being able to help with our Explorer program. I'm happy to report that our Explorer program started back in 2018, and it's since been thriving. Just based on my own personal knowledge and experience of law enforcement, having been employed with the department now almost 17 years, is an average size of an Explorer program varies from about 5 to 10. Excellent program is considered to have about 15 explorers in their capacity. Currently, the El Centro Police Department has 35 dedicated young men and women that are thriving in positions of leadership with the Explorer program. One of the other things that gives me great pride is that a lot of our explorers come from families, parents that have family in law enforcement. That includes the California Department of Corrections, Border Patrol, Customs, including other local police departments here in the Imperial Valley. However, they've chosen, I believe because of the quality of work that we put in with our program, they've chosen to be explorers with the city of El Centro. Many of you have seen them at city events, Aquatic Center, Mardi Gras, pretty much any city event that the city of El Centro has. Our explorers always are thriving, including outside events. One of our explorers recently just did an amazing job at the Imperial Valley College at the Police Academy graduation, singing the national anthem. We also help out Border Patrol with other events as well. So I'm extremely proud of our young men and women that have chosen to strive in serving the city of El Centro, the police department. The objective has always been an introduction to law enforcement for these young men and women, which varies from the age of 14 to 21. One of those things is also discipline, disciplines that we teach, leadership. And one of those ways that they are able to display those leadership skills is when they get to compete with other agencies across the state of California, which is why we're here today to request permission from the city to be able to accept those funds and help send our youth to that program mentioned earlier by Cedric Cesena, our city manager. To speak a little bit more specifically about the details of the event that we're going to be attending or hope to be attending pretty soon, I'll turn it over to Officer Carlos Pinal, who's one of our senior advisors in the program as well.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Madam Pro Tem, and council members. Police Officer Carlos Bernal. I'm one of the advisors, like just Sergeant Chopa said, in the Explorer program. Started maybe about 2 years ago with him, and ever since I think it's been an honor to work with these young men and women. Just briefly, I don't want to take too much time away. This competition is going to be held in Riverside. It's going to be in October 7th and 8th, so we still got some time to prep. It's a 2-day event, right? And it's not just us competing. It's about 30 agencies, police departments, sheriff's departments, all across from the state of California. So, we got our hands full there. Sponsorship, it's going to cover mainly the lodging, some of the food, and the registration fees, which is what the most cost is going to be. I can say that this competition does improve their discipline and them being committed to the city of El Centro residents. And I'm sure you guys seen how they participate in city events and are we out there just helping the public, I would like for the city of El Centro, Mayor Pro Tem and Council Member to consider this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Bernal. All right, council, at this time, is there any questions that we have on the sponsorship packet that's before us? Thank you. At this time, first motion has been made by Edgar Garcia, seconded by Councilmember Sonia Carter. Please vote. Thank you. Item passes 5-0. Congratulations for the great work that you do.
Good luck out there, guys.
All right. Moving us on to item 15, Proyecto Heber, City Manager Cedric Cesena.
Honorable Madam Mayor, we have an additional community sponsorship for Proyecto Heber. This is for your discussion and action. The balance of the community sponsorship fund after the previous sponsorship is $5,689. Proyecto Heber is a nonprofit organization that works around the Imperial Valley. Although their name says Heber, that's how the original onset of the program started. However, it goes beyond the community of Heber. They put on events throughout the community that helps the community, such as the Back to School Shoe Drive, the annual Turkey Drive, as well as Mother's Day, to name a few. They are requesting a cash sponsorship for their inaugural gala that took place on August 4th. So it's already a past occurred event here. We have looked at the application as well as the requirements for the policy statement have been met. You have also had the opportunity to review the request, and at this time before you for consideration as a sponsorship in the amount of $500. So in conclusion, we're seeking direction and any necessary action to make this sponsorship.
Thank you. Fellow council members, any questions that we may have on Proyecto Heber at this time? All right. Motion has been made by myself, seconded by, who was the second motion? Mayor Pro Tem. Item passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Mario's fine. Thank you so much. We appreciate the great work that you do in the community. Thank you. Ms. Diana. All right. With that, moving us to item number 16, Community Sponsorship, Imperial Valley 9/11 Stair Climb Committee. A presentation by City Manager, Mr. Cedric Sesenia.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you for the time. So before you now is the sponsorship request from the Imperial Valley 9/11 Stair Climb Committee. This, as far as the funding available under the Community Sponsorship Fund, after the prior sponsorship, we have $5,189 left. The IV 9/11 Stair Climb Committee is a nonprofit organization with members that represent fire, law enforcement, as well as other stakeholders within the community here in the Imperial Valley. Their priority is to continue their partnership with the community in observance of the annual memorial event during this weekend of September 11th, as well as honor and pay tribute to the heroes of 9/11. This year, they're requesting a sponsorship for the Stair Climb event that will take place on Sunday, September 9th at the Imperial Valley Fairgrounds. I will take this opportunity to see if any of the city employees will join me in taking part in this future event. The City Manager's Office has reviewed the application and the requirements of the policy statement. They have been met. It's been reviewed by the mayor as well, and the recommended sponsorship amount tonight is $911. So it's before you for direction and necessary action.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members, community members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Carlos Pitones. Behind me are my fellow committee members as well, Tiffany Macias, Matt Zinn, Matt Garcia, Mike Harvey. We are members of the Imperial Valley 9/11 Memorial and Stair Climb Committee. Our committee is formed of members that represent the fire community, the law enforcement community, the public and private organizations who are dedicated to ensuring that the Imperial Valley never forgets September 11, 2001. We do this by hosting a memorial stair climb that honors, respects, and pays tribute to the 343 FDNY firefighters, the 60 law enforcement personnel, and the 10 emergency medical personnel who made the ultimate sacrifice as a result of the terrorist attacks on that Tuesday morning in 2001. This year marks the 22nd anniversary of September 11th, and for the Imperial Valley, we will host the 10th annual 9/11 Memorial and Stair Climb event. This event will be held at the grandstands at the Imperial Valley Fairgrounds on Saturday, September 9th, 2023. The memorial ceremony will begin at 7:45 p.m., followed by our stair climb at 8 p.m. Our memorial stair climb is a way for the community to come together to remember the heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice on September 11, 2001. Each participant climbs or walks the equivalent of 110 stories of the World Trade Center, carrying the name and photo of a fallen hero to symbolically complete their climb. At this time, if possible, I'd like to show a video of last year's event.
Wrong or right, I give my life. This place called USA. No other place that I'd rather live. Love my wife and teach my kids about
details. Early registration for participants is now open at $25 through September 8th, and on-site registration will be available at $35 on the day of the event at 6 p.m. Participants that register before August 25th will be able to receive their event T-shirt on the day of the event, and registration can be completed at www.iv911.org. In addition to stair climb participants, we also are seeking sponsors and vendors to join us in making our event as successful as possible. Sponsorship opportunities come in 4 different levels, and each level represents something significant to September 11th. The first level is $343, which signifies the number of firefighters who were killed in the line of duty. The second is $413. The third is $911 for 9/11. And the last one is $2,001, signifying the year of September 11th. With each level receiving different degrees of recognition, advertisement, event memorabilia, and sponsorship dinner invitations. Vendors can also register for our event at no charge, but will agree to donate 10% of their earnings during the event. Also, funds raised for this event will go to the Imperial Valley 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb 501c3 that will provide charitable assistance to local firefighters and their families. We'll also promote scholarship opportunities within the community. And we will also plan to develop the Imperial Valley 9/11 Memorial at the Imperial Valley Fairgrounds as well. In closing, I want to thank you again for the opportunity to present this information. We invite everyone from the Imperial Valley to come out, whether as a spectator, a participant, a sponsor, or a vendor. We appreciate the assistance in having the Imperial Valley observe and remember this special day. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bringing it back here to council. Council members, anyone would like to give any suggestions, recommendations, feedback at this time? I will share that we participated in the event last year, and it was so meaningful. I think the 2 things that I walked away with, one was that we all came together as a community, and the second is that I got to wear the name of a fallen fireman, and that was very symbolic to me, and so I really appreciated that. All right, here we are, council members. I have a motion made by Council Member Edgar Garcia, seconded by Council Member Tomas Oliva. Please vote. Thank you, that item passes. We will be a sponsor, our sponsor level will be level 3 for $911. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you
and the
very
great
much.
work that you do in
Thank
our
you.
community. All right. Moving us on to item 17, which is the employment contract for the library director, Ms. Dulce Bedoya. All right. Before you begin your presentation, council members, this item sets the compensation of the library director. State law requires that when an executive contract is before the council for approval, the mayor must announce the salary and certain fringe benefits for the position. The library director will receive a salary of $123,660 per year, and asking for a car allowance of $300 a month. So, Ms. Bedoya, I'll hand it over to you.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. Here before you, you just said we have the employment contract for the library director. Compensation for this contract will be paid by the general fund. The terms and conditions of the resolution are being presented to you for final approval. As stated before, the monthly salary will be effective today, August 15, 2023, $10,305 with a $300 car allowance. Effective July 1st, 2024, a 2% salary increase, assuming a satisfactory performance evaluation. And the employee will receive medical insurance benefits on the same basis as all other city employees. With that said, any questions or you may have?
All right, council, this is before us. The item has been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Sylvia Marroquin, seconded by Councilmember Edgar Garcia. Please vote. Item passes 5-0. Congratulations, Ms. Carla.
Thank you for passing the contract. I'm so excited to be a city employee. I have, you can't even imagine how many ideas I have for the library. Just to name a few, English as second language classes, adult literacy classes, local author showcase, and farm to table program for next summer. So those are just a few. I could go on, but people want to go home. So. Thank you very much.
Ms. Carla, if I could just ask you one quick question. I was so impressed with the number, but I just want to go ahead and whoever may be listening or may watch this later, can you give us the total amount of participants through our summer program? When I heard the amount, I was just so happy to know that so many individuals have benefited from our El Centro Library.
In the 2 weeks in in June, when it first started, we had 15,000, and then the next month in July, we had over 30,000. So the summer reading program totaled 45,000 something for the year.
And I congratulate you and the great staff that provide those services. Congratulations, Ms. Carla. We're excited to see you as a City of El Centro employee and department head. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right. Mr. City Manager Cedric Cesena, is there anything that you'd like to add about Ms. Carla?
You know, when I met Carla for the first time was during her interview process, and I was actually, impressed with the quality of work that she had done and also the skills that she brought to the table. I think soon after there, we began talking about what the future would look like at the library and the programs and ideas that she had. I was really impressed, although I don't like snakes. The idea of bringing a program that actually would showcase live animals, right, in literacy. And there's just many magic shows, trivia, you name it. And every chance I get an opportunity to be there to see the work that they do, I take the opportunity and I get to talk to the employees at the library. And I hear nothing but good things about Carla from the staff. They're very content with, the boss they have and the leadership that she provides. And likewise, Carla feels very similar about the staff there. So I'm very happy that with the support of our council, we were able to actually make this action happen tonight. And Carla now is a City of El Centro employee, and we can continue to have the great number of visitors. I mean, it sounds like everybody in El Centro must have gone through the library with 45,000+ people going through there. So maybe next year we can set a higher goal, but if at the very least that we continue with the quality of work that happened over the past 6 or so months, I think we will be doing great work for the City of El Centro. So thank you, Carla. Appreciate you for your hard work.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Council members, at this time, I did receive a blue speaker slip on an item that is not on the agenda. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and take the speaker slip. I find it best to have that opportunity. Ms. Bedoya, I'm going to go ahead and take this item instead of waiting until the very end. So at this time, for public comment, I'd like to invite Ms. Marcy Morales to the podium, please. Ms. Morales, usually what happens is you'll come up to the podium and you'll state your name for the record, please, and then you're given 3 minutes to speak to council, okay?
Perfect, thank you.
All right, wonderful.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Marcy Morales, and I'm a local resident here in El Centro. And I do apologize for sending in the notice late. I did come in during the award ceremony, but I don't want to interrupt anybody, so I waited, so sorry.
Oh, thank you.
That was really nice. Only reason I came this evening was I was requesting a crosswalk in front of Kennedy Middle School, and that's the short story. The little bit longer than that is for the last 12 months, I've been bugging the heck out of John Beltran. I've never met him personally, but he's the head of security for El Centro Elementary School District. And he'll know my name. We don't know each other's faces yet, but I would call and check in. I would wait a month, all last school year, And he would say, oh, we're working on it, we're trying. I understand there's a lot involved between city and engineering, et cetera. So I would let like a month go by. I would bug him again, and we would laugh, and we would talk on the phone. Hey, how's it going? He said he's working with Public Works on it. Again, another month goes by. I was just waiting and waiting and waiting. My stingy reason behind it is I had a 6th grader, McKinley, last year. She's going to be in 7th now. And so for the last year, I've been trying to get a crosswalk over there. It's really busy in the morning. I do live over there in that area, like north, on 5th Street in Euclid, in there. So my kids go to McKinley and Kennedy. And so when I drop off my girls at McKinley in the morning, I go around the block onto 6th. And for that, 20, 30-minute window on 6th Street in front of the trailer park, Ms. Carter, I'm sure you're aware of the area too. It's really dangerous for the kids. It's really dangerous. It's the parents' fault because they drop them off across the street. It's 100% on the parents, it is. However, if you sit there in the morning between 7:30 and 8, it's a very short window. Sometimes I see El Centro PD there and I'm like, thank you. Because the parents drop their kids across the street and the kids run in between the ongoing traffic on 6th Street. And the kids are the one who are gonna get hurt. So I pulled over because I'm that nosy mom and I saw some gentlemen standing on the sidewalk with Kennedy polos. I said, oh, excuse me, gentlemen, work here? Yes, we do. I said, perfect. I'm glad you guys are watching. I said, I was just wondering, can you have a staff member hold a stop sign or, just something in the road? They're not my children, but they're someone's kids, And so they said they can't do it because it's too dangerous because of the liability. If it's too dangerous for their staff, it's too dangerous for the kids. I know it's not the city's fault. It's technically not probably the school's fault either. It's on the parents, but the kids are running to the school. And I was just hoping we could get lights, paint it, speed bump. I'm sure there's way more into it than I can imagine. It's been 12 months and I just wanted to see that, that's all. Again, I'm sure it's way more into it than I can imagine. So more recently I spoke with a young lady over at the city because I tracked down a lady at the Public Works. I didn't bring my notes, I didn't get her, I have her name, but she was very helpful and she did say that it has been passed. Originally they said that they didn't know who was gonna pay for it, the city or the school district. So I was just the parent trying to be help in the middle and see if there's something city council can maybe help with. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. Ms. Morales, I'll go ahead and direct this to our city manager, who will then follow up with Public Works on the status of this item.
That is correct. So I already sent a text message to our Public Works Director to see whose wheelhouse it falls into.
I was told it got approved, but that's all that I know. And I was told we were in line, there's a line of people who get that kind of work done first, depending on what, I'm not sure how that
So
works.
we'll get to the bottom of it and figure out where it's at and what we need to do and maybe create a timeline for the completion of the work, right? It is, sometimes it does require more than just painting the roadway and things like that from the standpoint of traffic studies and things like that.
Absolutely, I was told
Sometimes,
buses had to be rerouted. I'm sure
Right.
there's way more into it. I just feel for the safety of the kids.
and we understand.
They're the ones who would get hurt, so.
So we'll if we can, we'll get
I'll keep bugging John. I'm gonna
your-
keep calling him. He has my number now, so
I don't know who
it.
John is, but yeah, go ahead. Just kidding. No, I heard that, but I've never met
Ms.
him.
Morales, thank you. We appreciate you being such an active and involved parent and caring for the safety of all children. So thank you so much for your
appreciate
comment. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right, with that, I will continue with item number 18, CalPERS contract amendment intention. Ms. Dulce Botoya.
Yes, hello again. So in front of you is the resolution of intention to approve an amendment to contract between the Board of Administration, California Public Employees Retirement System, and the City Council of the City of El Centro. Pursuant to state law changes, CalPERS now allows for certain safety employees to share an additional 3% of the cost of retirement contributions. During the negotiations, this increased contribution was discussed and approved by vote of the POA on their MOU and the fire MOU. The unrepresented fire and police managers now will consider the change. There is a specific process that must be followed for a PERS contract change. This process is imposed by PERS, and we are following it step by step. The first step, council adopts a resolution of intention, which is what we're doing today. Assuming the resolution of intention is approved, the next step is to document the votes on the MOUs
and also arrange for secret ballots of the unrepresented groups on the change. Then these votes are certified to person. Once that is done, then at the September 12, 2023 meeting, the council will be presented with an ordinance which changes the PERS agreement. At the meeting, to introduce the ordinance, the future annual cost of the change will be made public. Assuming introduction of the ordinance and the second reading at the next council meeting, the change will become effective at some time in October or early November. So any questions on this?
All right, council. Any questions, comments, feedback from Ms. Bedoya on this item? All right. Right, item has been moved by our Mayor Pro Tem Sylvia Marroquin, seconded by Councilmember Tomas Oliva. Please vote. Thank you. Adoption of resolution number 23-81 has passed. Thank you. All right, item number 19 on our agenda, discussion and necessary actions regarding an agreement with Comité Cívico del Valle Incorporated for electric vehicle charging station site. City Manager, Mr. Cedric Cesena.
Honorable Madam Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem and council members. So before you is the resolution for the agreement between the City of El Centro as well as Comité Cívico for 4 electric charging stations at our El Centro Library. This particular item is something that we've been working on for probably about 6 months. I do want to note the fact that Abraham did a lot of work on this particular item, and I'm very thankful for him to picking this up. It was a great idea that I had, and he had to do the work on it. So we were approached by Comité Cívico in relation to a location that would be able to host the 4 electric charging stations that would also be supported by the infrastructure around it. And that was one of the big challenges that they were finding themselves with, was that electrical infrastructure is not necessarily readily available that supports level 3 charging stations. These are the fastest charging stations. We did see that there was a need on the north side of the city as far as electric vehicle charging stations. There's not a whole lot on the north side of town. We do have quite a bit along Interstate 8 at the mall or at local restaurants along the interstate. So this item basically brings together work between the City of El Centro, who provides the location, and Comité Cívico, who provides for the construction, funding the IED installation of power, transformer, dropping the power from the pole underground across the street, a transformer, as well as a switch, and then the charging stations. This is actually a sizable investment into the library for infrastructure for charging vehicles. We are going to still be on the hook for maintaining our property, so we have to do that kind of work around the charging stations as well as the other electrical work that's been done there. Comité Cívico will maintain the charging stations and pay for the power, so it's cost neutral to the city in relation to this particular project. So the Public Works Director, as well as our Community Development Director, did quite a bit of work to ensure that all the requirements for charging stations at the location were met. And then we also have each party agreeing to indemnify the other for actions that each party can take under this agreement. So before you is the resolution of the City of El Centro approving an agreement between the city and Comité Cívico for 4 electric charging stations at the El Centro Library.
Great. Thank you. All right, fellow council members. At this time, the mover was Council Member Sonia Carter, seconded by Council Member Tomas Oliva. Please vote. Thank you. The adoption of Resolution 23-82 has passed. Thank you. All right, item number 20. Discussion and any necessary actions regarding the approval of the program supplemental agreement for LPP SB 1L-5169 Commercial Avenue Improvement Project. I felt like I just said the ABC. All right, Mr. Abraham Campos.
Good evening, honorable mayor and council members. You're starting to see, hopefully, the repetitive nature of these. This is a supplemental agreement for a good project. This is related to SB1, and it's a local partnership program. So it's a state-funded grant where the state provides through SB1 funding on a one-to-one basis to do improvements in our local streets. In this case, we're looking to resurface Commercial Avenue between 3rd Street and Dogwood Avenue. Have you been in that area? It's an industrial area for the city. It's in very rough shape and much needed improvement. The cost is a total of $1,040,000, split 50-50. So our portion would be $520,000 with the state matching at $520,000. This is a supplemental agreement to the master agreement we have with the state, and it just establishes the terms and conditions for this particular project. This project will come back to council at a later date once we have the plans and specifications ready to go out to bid. At this point, it's a program supplemental agreement that we're asking for your approval. Any questions? I'd be happy to answer.
Council, any questions for Mr. Campos? All right. Any questions? No? All right. So at this point, motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Sylvia Marroquin, seconded by myself, Marta Cardenas Singh. Great. Item passes. The resolution number 23-83. Thank you, Mr. Campos, for that one. And now moving on to agenda item 21, vacation of public utility easement of Jackson Court. Mr. Abraham Campos.
All right, so thank you again. This is a vacation, not to Hawaii, and that's not at the spot right now, and I wish him all well over there. Right now, what we're trying to do is an abandon of an easement. It's mostly a cleanup. This happens when there's some maps in the past where there was a grandiose idea of doing some road or a utility line, and it never happened. In this case, just to give you some background of the location, this is on Wake and 4th Street generally. Was Jackson Court, a cul-de-sac that would exist right now going through Taco Bell and Point Power Sports. There's still a sliver that's shown in the screen in yellow, and that is a public utility easement that in the previous vacation or abandonment attempt was not returned back to the owners. At this point, the owner of that parcel that's encumbered by that yellow area is asking for that to be vacated. There's a process which we have gone through as a summary vacation, and we're asking for your approval to approve this resolution so we can vacate that easement. There's no need. It's obviously it's always not needed as we have obtained letters from all the utilities, which is a requirement such as gas company, IID, Spectrum, and so forth. Everybody says there's no further interest, which is one of the requirements to vacate. I'm requesting consideration to approve the resolution abandoning this easement so we can record this resolution and that can go back to its owner. Underline B.
All right.
Any
All right,
questions?
council members, any questions that we may have from Mr. Abraham? All right. At this time, the mover was myself, Marta Cardenas Singh, seconded by, who was the second? Councilmember Sonia Carter. Therefore, this item passes.
Excuse me, Mayor?
Yes?
The seconder is Mayor Pro Tem Marroquin.
I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Sylvia Marroquin. Item passes 5-0. The approval of resolution 23-84. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Agenda item number 22, Measure P funding commitment request for youth sports program. Presentation by Councilmember Edgar Garcia.
Thank you, colleagues. So this is essentially an idea that had been floating around for a while. Other municipalities have taken upon themselves to sponsor and have partnerships with their local youth leagues. This is something that I recognized in other cities through my travels and work with the League of California Cities. I had heard about this, I investigated it, and based off of the demographics and the economic difficulties that a lot of our residents have, a lot of children do not have the same opportunity to play these sports as anybody that can afford to do so. And what we see is something that it's startling, but also very, very wonderful in that our community takes care of these children anyway. I've seen this as early as when my children started playing sports, where children do not get turned away. They sign up to play in these different leagues, and some of the time the league ends up eating the costs for the children because they're just not in a position, or their family's not in a position to financially support them in these endeavors. So after, looking at the different leagues that I've seen around here, I wanted to cast the widest net for participants. So I identified 3 main sports, because this is new. We haven't done anything like this before. There's a football program, there's a Little League baseball program, and there's a soccer program. With those 3 programs, if we were to sponsor each one of them and commit a certain amount of funding to each one of these leagues, it would cast a net that would reach almost 1,000 El Centro children that could participate in these programs. So that's what was behind this idea and this request. I think it's something that we owe to our children. Youth development is very important, and playing sports does have an impact on children's lives. Not everybody has a happy home to go to, and a lot of these times these teams and these activities, they keep children on the right path. Not only does it help them with their development, but it also helps them with social skills. It helps them stay healthy, and there's just so many different benefits. So that's why I'm bringing this request to this body to see if we can use Measure P funding to support the El Centro Police Athletic League soccer program, the El Centro Little League baseball program, and the American Youth Football Spartan football program for an amount of $15,000 for each league. And that would be used to cover costs for uniforms, for expenses, and ultimately that will translate to allowing more children to sign up, and will also give the leagues the opportunities to give essentially scholarships to these children so they can participate. With that kind of funding that is going to be readily available and a commitment from this city, I think we can do great things moving forward, and I think it will do nothing but benefit the children in our community. So that's what I'd be asking today.
Council members, do we have any questions on this item? I'm sorry.
Go for it.
I just want to share, to be transparent and open, I did receive 2 phone calls, one yesterday, and the phone call that I received was from the president of the Imperial Valley Girls Softball League, and I also received a phone call from the El Centro Trojan football team and cheer, and the 2 concerns that they shared was how were the 3 entities identified, and could there be a much more equitable opportunity where other nonprofit organizations would have the opportunity to apply for a specific amount of funding. So I believe at this point it was about process, or can we put a process in place?
Well, I believe we can. Like I said, this is something that the city has not done before. We do have community sponsorships that we do, and nonprofits are eligible for that. What my thinking behind these specific leagues was that, number one, I've personally seen how many El Centro children participate in these leagues. Also, the economic crisis that these children have. Just to give you an example, the El Centro Police Athletic League has about 400 children that they help. And 25% of that is considered extremely low income. Another 20% is very low income, and then another 20% is just considered low income. So when you have to break down low income into 3 different categories, clearly there's a crisis. And these children, they love to participate. It's one of the biggest programs that we have in the city, and they have consistently had upwards of 70% of El Centro residents being involved in that program. The same goes with the El Centro Little League. It is located in a vulnerable neighborhood in our city. And because of that, it draws a lot of children from that area. And it's also co-ed. So I understand that there are concerns from other leagues, but that doesn't mean that there won't be opportunities later on to provide that type of sponsorship or funding once we can see how this program works out. But we have to start somewhere. And this is what I'm proposing for us to start.
Council, I do have a blue speaker slip. At this time, I would like to go ahead and call Rosendo Garcia, Rusty Garcia. Please, if you would like to comment here on item 22.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council. Just, kind of to basically reiterate the same comments that you had, Mr. Garcia. I'm all for this Measure P request and for the, what it could bring for each program. Ourselves as being a part of the Imperial Valley Girls Softball League, we do see the same struggles every year, not being able to provide as much as we could because of costs of equipment, cost of umpires. We're very fortunate here in the city to have a lot of backing and support as far as field lights that we don't have to pay for throughout the season. But we do have our costs for equipment that we normally do to help out, with the park staff. As far as registrations, we do see the same struggles as far as sponsorships, which we don't unfortunately bring out as much as we'd like to, but we do provide every year. Anybody that requests a sponsorship, we don't turn them away or tell them we can't. We either absorb the costs or figure out a way somehow with our other sponsorships to bring those girls in. I'm all for youth sports, and the same thing. It is a great start. I just thought when I saw this on the agenda that the girls softball league being one of the very few recreation leagues for girls. We do have other travel teams that have softball related, but unless you're already kind of established or playing, none of these girls would actually be playing, especially the money to be traveling out of town as well. Brawley, I think, is the only other recreation league that has one for softball, but it's very small and it's also only during one season, and we're able to provide for 2 seasons of softball, and something that, like I said, unless you're able to play in a travel team, then that's really the only thing that they're able to do. So again, I'm all for support for this measure. I just wanted to bring that up as far as our league in recognition. I understand too that we're not El Centro softball, so I do understand that part, but we do have quite a few girls from El Centro in our league, and so with that, thank you and appreciate your time.
And just number one, thank you very much for your commitment to youth sports. I know that the work that you do, and I commend you for it again. There are other opportunities to get funding. My concern with your league specifically was that this is going to be a city sponsorship from Measure P funds, which is a city tax. So I needed to look at the demographics of the leagues. And if your demographics of your league have changed, or if I can take a look at them a little bit more, maybe there's something else that we can do in the future. But the leagues that I identified were upwards of 70, 80% El Centro residents. And that was one of the main characteristics, because we're using public funds. So they should be enjoyed by the residents here. And I know that El Centro residents play for your league. And that's wonderful. And we'd like to do what we can. I'm just, like I said, this is a new program. That this is something that we want to get started so we can see what it'll evolve into in the future. But thank you very much for speaking.
Yeah, no, thank you. And just to read it, yeah, I do understand that part. So I just thought I'd ask and just bring up our, information as far as our league, and I can provide too our demographics. But we did have a presentation the beginning of our last season, which are pretty consistent to what it looks like right now for our fall season. So, which is, we do have El Centro residents, but we do have from other cities as well. So, but thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, is there a question? Ms. Mayor Pro Tem?
He answered.
I'm sorry.
Honorable Mayor and
Yes.
Council, if I may, for just a few minutes. I'd like to speak just on this topic very, very briefly. I know we talked about the El Centro Police Athletic League, and I think sometimes that's a misnomer because we don't have quite the involvement that I would like to see the police department have. But I'd like to talk to you tonight on the topic of the El Centro Police Athletic League and soccer in general. So I was a coach for a traveling soccer team for many years prior to becoming the chief in Brawley, and I gave it up because of my time commitments at this level of law enforcement. I will tell you that the commitment that Ed Preciado and the group over at the El Centro Police Athletic League put into youth soccer is tremendous. Not only that, they serve well over 400 youth in our community, specifically within the city of El Centro. The impoverished community that they touch is tremendous, and the amount of time and effort, equipment, and commitment from their volunteer coaches and everything else is just something to be applauded. So the fact that this is being discussed, I want to applaud each of you for even considering this first and foremost. I also want to point out that recently they started talking with AYSO, the American Youth Soccer Organization, and they are looking to really kind of bring this to the next level. So whether or not they get funding, I just want you to be of the understanding that they are looking to really build this program. And I'm sure that there's a lot of great organizations here. I played Little League growing up. I was in swimming and everything. But El Centro Police Athletic League, again, we say that they're affiliated with the police department. They're in a very, very small way. Probably not to the level that we should be involved in that. But I just want to commend Councilmember Garcia and each and every one of you for even having this discussion. The amount of youth that they touch and all of the programs here in the Valley, and the good that this can do for these programs is just tremendous. So thank you for having the conversation tonight and entertaining this. I think it's very worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
All right. Any other questions? Yes.
Just one more comment, just a reminder. We work with the leagues a lot in Parks and Recreation, and so we know the needs are definitely there. But also wanted to remind the council that the city does do a lot of work with the leagues. You offer all the field usage for free. The lights are for free. We're investing millions in many of our facilities. And then with PAL specifically, we did award about $7,800 through CDBG, and then the offset to make the $10,000 was through the Friends of El Centro. And so I know you all are committed, and I feel that that steady stream of funds would probably be helpful for them. But I want to remind you, too, of the commitments you are already making in helping these leagues as well. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Colleagues, any other questions on this item?
I don't have necessarily a question, Madam Mayor, but I do want to make a statement. And the statement is that I have to say thank you for putting this forward. I think that evaluating it in the spirit of what's behind it. I remember the Nothing But Net program at the pavilion, when what we did was we lowered the amount of money that a student or a youth had to pay in order to participate, and it just flooded, right? We had to hire more coaches in order to sustain the amount of youth that were participating, which just goes and shows how sometimes we could price out our youth in our community. And it's no fault of their own. It's just because of inflation. It's because there's a lot of peer pressure. You know, you got to have the really nice shoes, the name brands, the this or that. And, you know, parents are trying their best. And so these monies certainly are going to go. And I think if I understand, Councilmember Garcia, that the purpose and the spirit behind this is to ensure that it is going to the youth with the greatest need. It's going to go to the families within our communities, and I have to say that I absolutely stand behind that, and I think it merits to be said that something like this should have been done a long time ago. I'm very glad and thankful that you brought it before us, and that we're able to be alongside you in pushing this forward. And so, what I wanted to ask now, as I'm contemplating some of the commentary that were made, and that is my understanding is this would be ongoing, right? It would be
Correct.
Annual,
And
right?
the reason for that is to give these leagues the assurance and stability that they can keep these kids playing. So they don't have to worry about having to buy jerseys. They don't have to worry about having to get hats for them, things like that. This will make sure that they can take in those children that need it the most, because it will be a commitment that we make ongoing into the future.
Does that mean that the allocation to these leagues, it'll stay that way and it's permanent, ongoing, or will it ever come back to us for like reallocation and
No,
adjustments?
definitely. This is a program. This is going to be a city program. We're going to evaluate the leagues. We can. I've already received commitments from the people who run these separate leagues that they will keep us abreast of how many kids are enrolled, how many participate, what the cost was for them. So they are going to be completely transparent and are more than willing to present to us the financials behind it, where the money went, how many kids were served, where they reside. All of that information is going to be provided to us, so then we can make appropriate decisions going on to the future.
All right. Well, with that, Madam Mayor and colleagues, I'd love to second. If Mr. Garcia is making a motion, I'd love to second it for our consideration, in that the amount is allocated and that it is distributed the way that he is indicating. However, next year it would come before the council. The amount would stay the same, right? And then it would come before the council to see what that looks like.
I would like to add something, please, and absolutely love the spirit of what we have in place. I just want to make sure that this is a given opportunity to all sports to have this opportunity. So if for this year, just hear me out in process, so that for this year, these three would be the identified leagues. Next year, we would open this up again and then have the opportunity for other teams to apply, or would we develop some type of a criteria that would allow other nonprofit
So
sports?
again, I'm
Okay.
open to having that sort of discussion.
Okay.
But for starting this program, I just wanted to cast the largest net, and based off of the amount of participants in these three leagues, we really have the opportunity to reach close to 1,000 children. But of course, this is going to be an ongoing program, so we can definitely have other leagues that want to discuss their eligibility. We would have to receive the same information from them that we have for these leagues, so we have a fully transparent process and we can see what's going on and where we can help the most.
All right, so just for clarification, I think for myself, that we develop a criteria and a process for next year for nonprofits to be able to apply. And then 2, that we have a process of the accountability of the funds and where they went as far as reporting back to us on the accountability of the benefits that took place with students. All right. Any other dialogue on that item?
No, and I was thinking along the same lines as you were, to, in the future, this would be the pilot program for this. And, I'm sure that Councilmember Garcia has done his research. I know that he's been passionate about this and has talked about this, for a while. And my, I don't want to say my, I guess, advocacy here would be for other groups to also be eligible for some of this funding. And, and then along the lines of, maybe, I know it's going to become very competitive, so maybe like an application process, and then we would then, I guess maybe as a council, would we be the body that would then select the recipients for future funding?
I think we can form, if it's all right, Councilmember Garcia, that we form a committee, and from that committee, we could take a look at it, score it, put it on a ranking order in regards to what was submitted in the application, and that would be the allocation process. Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
All right. Well, this is seed money and giving the opportunity. Seed money is always that opportunity to provide, as we're taking a look at the opportunity for a youth. As an educator, I see the great benefits when it comes to sports, understanding where many families are right now with our economy, right? Ourselves included with inflation. Many families have to determine whether 1 or 2 or 0 kids can participate in sports. So I understand the spirit behind the importance of investing in our youth. All right. Council members, this is what's before us. I have here a motion made by Councilmember Edgar Garcia, seconded by Councilmember Tomas Oliva. Please vote. Thank you. This item has been adopted 5-0. All right, moving us on to agenda item 23, discussion and necessary action regarding the appointment of a voting delegate and alternate for the League of California Cities Annual Conference and Expo, which is September the 20th through the 22nd of 2023 in Sacramento. Councilmember Garcia, you have been a voting delegate and also as our district representative, so you've had that opportunity. Mayor Pro Tem, have you had the opportunity to be a voting delegate?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Tomas Oliva, have you had the opportunity to be a voting delegate?
I don't think so. Maybe? I don't think so.
I need a yes or a no.
Have I before? No, I don't think I have.
All right.
That I remember. No, I have not.
All right, and Ms. Sonia, I know you're new to our council. So at this point then, Mr. Oliva, I'll go ahead and appoint you as our voting delegate. And Ms. Sonia Carter, you will be the alternate at California League of Cities at our conference. Okay? All right.
I need a vote on that?
I'm sorry, thank you. All right. Do I have a motion? You mean we just can't say okay? No. All right, motion made by our Mayor Pro Tem Silvio Marroquin. Councilmember Edgar Garcia, please vote. All right, item passes. Do us right.
Got it.
Councilmember.
We're gonna do it.
All right, legislative action, I'll go ahead and, there's nothing to report there, but maybe from our committee report. Informational items are 24 through 27. All right, fellow council members, it's 8:15. Task force reports at this time. Please, let's be conscientious with our time, and I would like to adjourn our meeting as scheduled here at 8:30. Councilmember Sonia Carter, is there anything that you would like to report at this time?
Yes, just briefly, hit on Christmas in July. That was a very nice event. And we had our hospital meeting, and I was a judge for the talent show for the LGBTQT. That was very nice talent in our community. We also had our transportation community meeting, very informative. David did a very nice job informing us of the transportation here in the Imperial Valley. And I said the Imperial Valley because he talked about everybody, and now everybody wants to get on board. So it's very nice that everybody wants to have an opportunity to have David speak. Then I've been attending the Woman on Top. It's a Learning into Leadership program. It's different meetings with ladies that are just getting into leadership and learning different things from them, and it's been phenomenal. So I'm like learning from them. And well, they say we're learning from each other. And then I attended the air pollution meeting that was online. That's to tell us that we're gonna now do our committees. So that's gonna be coming up now as well. And I think that's about it.
Right.
Pass the fork.
All right, colleagues, since our last meeting, as you know, during the summer, a lot of committees go dark. And so really my focus, shocking enough, has been the hospital. It's been focusing on that, AB 918. And so since we last met, my time has been spent doing interviews with different media outlets to make sure that what is being reported to the public, which is an important role that our media plays in making sure that the information given to them is accurate. So I've made sure to sit down and answer questions from the media to make sure that the activities and the actions and the realities of the hospital is what's being conveyed to the public, right? We recently, or the board recently passed the budget for El Centro Regional Medical Center, which looks far healthier than the previous years that it has been managed. And so that certainly is something that should be conveyed to the public. AB 918, as you know, is the piece of legislation that Assemblymember Garcia has authored and has gone through the entire system, has not received a single no vote. It has been supported by both Democrats and Republicans in the Assembly, the Senate Policy Committee. It has received, I believe, over a dozen supporting entities behind it. And so it was heard this week in Senate Appropriations, and like many bills right now during the process, I believe all but 2 bills that they heard, which was over 220-something bills, were put into the suspense file, which is classic for the process. And those bills will get taken up later this month, early next month, to move forward in the process. And so we met with Assemblymember Garcia again today, I believe, to speak out and work out some potential amendments that might be coming up very soon. These are amendments that are not necessarily a secret, but they're just, we're working with, again, Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District to make sure that we are all hand in hand moving forward this piece of legislation so that we can get our medical system and our healthcare system in Imperial Valley back on track, healthy, and ready to grow and to be there when we need it. And so the last thing that I will say, because those are the more formal meetings that take place, I did want to recognize the event that happened this morning, and I say it just so because it hit home, and I do want to just recognize the public safety folks that were here. As many of you know, there was a tragic fire that took place in the city of El Centro. A building was basically destroyed, and that is still ongoing as to what happened there. But that's how today started, and it was shocking to a lot of folks. And so when I get there, or when I arrived this morning, I could say that it was the smell, right? Like, I am not in the public safety arena, and so I'm not a firefighter. I have to say, I was not used to that smell, Chief. I will tell you that. But it was just kind of shocking to see an entire building just charred. And what I will say is, I am very thankful for you, Chief, and your department for having responded so quickly, to have been there to contain it, because when you see as much devastation as that took place, you recognize that it could have been far worse. right? And so that being one part. And the other part was the fact that one employee of the building stood by herself, and you and I walked up to her to see how she was doing, and I couldn't help but just feel the severity of it, of her just breaking down, to have seen her place of work. But for her and for many others, it's not just a place of work, right? It's a building of service that they seek out that is no longer going to be there, right? It's a place of service of medical, facility that now they will have to travel to either Riverside or San Diego to get. And so for her, it's a reflection of just, the tragedy, the devastation. And so, I have never had a tragedy like that happen to me, and I hope none of you ever experienced that, where you come home one day and your house is no longer there, or your office is no longer there. And so she certainly felt that today, and it just hurt me to see one of our fellow residents have to go through that. I hope you all never have to go through that, but when those things do happen, I am thankful for our fire department for having been there, and I hope and wish that employee all the best. And so thank you for being there. And so, colleagues, with that, I'll conclude.
Thank you.
Councilmember Garcia?
Well, we've had a little bit of a break, but like my colleague said, we've been doing a lot of work with ECRMC and AB 918. It continues to look very promising. It continues to be moved forward. So that's taken up a lot of all of our time. We have had some great city events. I was very happy to join our mayor at the library for the summer reading program, for the end of the summer reading program. It was great to see how many people were participating and all the kids that were there. They were very enthusiastic about the process of reading during the summer, and that's wonderful to see, as it will only help them later on in life. We had the El Centro Day at the ballpark, which was very, very well attended. Everybody had fun at Petco. It was a very nice day. And just yesterday, I attended the City Pack event at Petco Park for the League of California Cities. It was a great day at the ballpark. We had over a dozen representatives from Imperial County. It wasn't just the San Diego district. We had the honor of having Mayor Todd Gloria speak while we were there. Our mayor was there having a great time watching the game. It was just a very, very nice event, seeing people get together and talk about, cooperation between our two counties, and seeing what we can do to try to solve some of these issues that everybody's facing in California. That we see these recurring issues that affect cities of 50,000 like us and cities of millions of people like San Diego. We have the same issues. So coming up with solutions at a small level, medium level, large level, it doesn't matter where you live. We all have to come up with some sort of solution to deal with housing crisis, homelessness, the drug epidemic that we're seeing with opioids. There's just so many issues that are plaguing our great state. And seeing an organization like the League of California Cities get everybody together from different sizes of municipalities in order to discuss how they're dealing with the issues, that exchange of information can only help us really try to address these issues. So it was a good day, but a lot of good discussion, and I'll end it at that.
Perfect. Madam Mayor Pro Tem?
Well, since we last met, I attended the Imperial Valley Regional Chamber of Commerce Legislative Day event at the old Post Office Pavilion. And so that was very informative. I do have to share that my colleague, Tomas Oliva, was one of the panelists, as he was representing the congressman for his day job. But I was called upon to answer a couple of questions, that, and concerns that were brought up during that event. So I was happy to be able to report because the day before that, we had our Community Enhancements Task Force meeting. And so that was a subject and a topic of discussion during that meeting, and I was able to respond to the concerns that were brought up during that Legislative Day event. I also had, and I'm going to let the mayor talk about I had an opportunity to introduce the Hometown Heroes program at that Legislative Day event, but I'll let the mayor go into the details of that program. Let's see. We also attended the ribbon cutting ceremony for the next phase of the Imperial Avenue extension. So we're really excited about that because, as we were talking to other attendees there, this is something that's been talked about, gosh, since I was like a young adult. And so to see it coming to fruition is really exciting. Let's see. We have all been involved with the hospital situation. So Assemblymember Garcia held a press conference over at the County Board of Supervisors chamber at the end of last month, to bring everybody up to speed and to hopefully clear a lot of the misconceptions and misinformation that's out there about the Assembly bill that is now going through the process. Also attended the ribbon cutting ceremony for Roundtable Pizza. And, the new owners are also the owners of Menchie's right next door. So we were fortunate enough to enjoy a free pizza on the house. And then they also treated us to dessert next door. So that was really cool, So, and then last week, so this new mural art grant program that we just launched. We had a technical assistance workshop that was facilitated by our own director, Adriana Nava. And so, I was really impressed at the turnout that we had at that workshop. And so I'm excited to see what develops, so it's like, and what kind of art we're going to see around the city. So, my gosh, I think that's enough. So I'll turn it over to our mayor.
Thank you. Many of the events and projects that have been mentioned, I've had the opportunity to participate in, so I do not want to duplicate those activities. I will share a couple. One of those being our Summer Bash Aquatic Center. That was great. Great job. Miss Adriana, to you and to all of your staff. It always is great to see families come together and enjoy the facilities that we have here in El Centro. In regards to our Hometown Hero program, this is just a reminder to the public. This is a great opportunity to highlight, celebrate an individual who has served our country, whether in the capacity of a veteran or a current service member. That is taking place. We have 16 slots that are still available. These are flags that will be put on the light fixtures that are in the downtown area. With these 16 slots that are available, it will be a banner style with a picture of the individual that is a veteran or a service member. The price for that is $175, and that will be displayed from November 1st through the Thanksgiving weekend, which is, of course, surrounded around Veterans Day, so that's really important. I wanted to make sure that I highlighted that. I'll share with you, I had the opportunity to attend Central Union High School's had their girls' first flag football tryout, so it's great to see a sense of equity in sports here in the Imperial Valley, so really excited about having a girls' flag football team here at both Central and Southwest High School. Chief Bernal, I had the opportunity to spend some time with you this morning as we were there at the plaza there with Planned Parenthood, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for your leadership and to all the firemen who immediately jumped into action. I know that it was long hours. It was extremely hot, and I think for myself as well, just a constant reminder, right, that when the call of service is given, that we are there to respond and to serve our community. So with that, please, I commend you, and if you could please share the same sentiments with your department. With that, I want to share with a heavy heart, I have sad news to share with you on why Joselito is not here today. After celebrating his mother's 100th birthday, she passed away a couple weeks ago, and so it is with a heavy heart that I share that with you. His mother was very happy the day of her 100th birthday, and our family was here to enjoy her, and I just wanted to share with you that is why he's not here with us this evening. He's become part of our council, right? And so when someone is hurting, we're all hurting for him. So just please, if you could share your prayers if you are a person of belief, or send your condolences. I'm sure that the family would appreciate that. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I basically attended all the same meetings you guys have had, so I won't repeat those. But there was the Fentanyl Awareness Summit that happened since our last meeting. That was very interesting, a lot of good information. Since then, we've had actually 5 new employees join the city of El Centro, and 2 in the Parks and Recreations Department, Public Works, Finance, as well as in the community development area. I did attend the Back to School Splash, and although it's already been mentioned, I do want to recognize the Aquatic Center staff for all their great activities that they held for the youth during quote-unquote summer, even though we're still in the heat. Thank you to all the lifeguards, the support staff, the administrative and operational staff there. I've had the opportunity to spend hours floating in the lazy river during these events, which is very relaxing, I must add. Maybe we should have a retreat in the lazy river. But I will share that, there's one person that I always run across there, and that's my buddy Roman Platero. He always has a big smile. So kudos to him. I would like to also provide you with a brief update on the fire that happened over at Planned Parenthood. Our very dedicated dispatchers, our communication center at the police department, began receiving multiple calls for the fire at about 1:44 this morning. Immediately, they went ahead and dispatched what's known as a structure fire response to all stations to the incident. Although they didn't necessarily knew what was on fire, they knew that it was large enough that they were receiving multiple calls, so that triggered them to respond in that manner. Our police and fire department responded. As is mentioned, there was a pretty good firefight on their hands. Although I wasn't there, this is the first time that I show up to one of these after hours of it happening. And, it was, the initial response to a structure fire that brought everybody there. It was followed by a second and a third alarm request. We want to thank the City of Holtville, Imperial County Fire Department, Brawley Fire, and NAFL Centro for the response and support during this incident. The fire is currently under investigation. Although there's a point of origin, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So our police department, our fire department, as well as initially the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives are involved in the investigation to make sure that we get to a resolution as to what the cause and origin of the fire has been. Ultimately, a great, kudos to our fire department for the great work. There was plenty else that could have burned in the process. They took an offensive approach to the fire and kept the fire to the location of the incident. Coincidentally, that smell of smoke, sir, I proudly wore it for the rest of the day today. And my daughter would call it the smell of burnt bacon. It did trigger some memories in me. But most importantly, it did, trigger the hard work that the fire department does put in when they respond to one of these incidents. In particular, when it's large enough that it requires help from the outside of the city. So, end of report.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 8:32. This meeting is adjourned. Go home and enjoy your families.